What's going on, everybody? It's Fuel Bandicoot here, and man, I didn't expect to be making another video until 2020, but since it's the end of the year, the last week of 2019, I figured I would do some reflecting on the previous season. I am a tad sick, so if I sound a little raspy, that is why. And this is going to be a little bit more of a laid-back video, but also kind of a professional one. So, as we dive into this is going to be the top 10 drivers in the championship from 2019. I've never done this. I've always told myself I was going to do like a championship banquet, but never have done it. So if we get like 20, 25 likes or something, I mean, golly, if y'all show some support in this kind of video at the end of the season, we will do it for next year. I'm just doing it sheerly because I'm just bored. So let's dive right in to number 10. Coming in at number 10, the driver, the 45 AutoZone Dodge, drove the National Guard scheme as well. Bryan Acosta, 5 seasons in a row, has drove for Allen Family Racing Team, has picked up victories in every season until the last 2. He's been winless in 2018 and 2019, and that's kind of been a big question mark over Bryan Acosta, is why he has not been able to pick up the victories. However, Acosta, 10 top 5s, 15 top 10s, half the season finishing inside the top 10. Acosta picked up 3 poles. It was a lot of poles for him in the 2019 season. At one point, Acosta was a serious title contender, racing with his teammate Ryan Griffin and his teammate Chris Dodd this season. Allen Family Racing Team was one of, if not the best teams on the grid for the season, and contested the race wins week in and week out. Acosta was at the front end of the grid most of the time, but was never able to pick up the victory. It was the first time since Season 1 Acosta picked up a top 10 place in the final standings. Acosta makes up 10th place. Coming in at number 9, Charles Sanford, another top 10 points finish this season in the 2019 season. Sanford drove the 24 Mace Enterprises Chevy to another solid outing in the 2019 season, picked up 2 victories. It was the first victories since the 2017 race at Canadian Tire, when he won out in the rain in that race for Fuel Brothers Racing. But Sanford, 2 victories, 6 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. That's a third of the season in the top 10. For Sanford, it was a very solid season. He was the best Mace Enterprises driver, and it was the only driver of the Mace Enterprises team that finished in the top 10 in points. He was the best driver on overall points, but Sanford, moving over to Red Bull Racing for 2020, it's going to be a very big question mark of what he'll be able to do in the following season. But it was a very solid year. 2 wins and moving up the ranks, tied with Curtis for 18 wins in the career. Coming in at number 8, Matthew Regas. He ended up picking up 5 top 5s, 14 top 10s, just shy of half of the season in the top 10 in points. However, Rodriguez, he drove for Martin Rodriguez Motorsports, which started the season off as Martin Motorsports and has now been transitioning into what is now going to be Rodriguez Racing into 2020. It is basically going to be the same team, but the management is changing, and it has been changing all season. And how Rodriguez finished in the top 10 in points throughout all of this change, and especially coming off a winless 2018 season for the manufacturer of Toyota, with Martin Motorsports changing from Ford to Toyota. It was a big shock for Matthew Regas to even keep that team in the top 10 in points. However, 0 wins was kind of expected at the start of the season that the team would struggle, but top 10 in points was a solid outing for the team. Only 5 top 5s in the season. He was not very close to winning races overall, but they're looking to build on that for 2020. Coming in at number 7 is Daejeon Young. Daejeon Young picked up 10 top 5s, 16 top 10s. Driving for Yamp Motorsports, it was a big leap for him this season. He really climbed up the ranks and showed everyone who he really is behind the wheel of the race car. Daejeon Young was so close to grabbing a race win. I really can think back to Canadian Tire this year when him and Dylan Schwellenberg went wheel to wheel in some battles out there. And Young was atop the championship standings for more than a race, really. He was a serious title contender this season for Yamp Motorsports, and he slid all the way back to 7th in points. I cannot believe Young was challenging for the title and slid back to 7th. Just like Bryan Acosta, I don't even know how Bryan Acosta managed to fall nearly outside the top 10 in points while fighting for the title past halfway in the season. Daejeon Young, it was a great year nonetheless, but his miserable second half of the season is going to be something he's going to need to answer to in 2020, but it was a solid run, really solid, 10 top 5s. That is a third of the season, finishing right there in the top 5. A great year nonetheless for the Yamp driver of Daejeon Young. Moving on up the ranks, Jake Basssinger is 6th place in the final standings, just shy of his teammate Jesse Turner, who is 5th in points, but we'll get to him in a second. Basssinger, he ended up going with only 1 win, 9 top 5s, and 16 top 10s. Nearly identical of his teammate, but just shy of a 5th place finish. Basssinger got the team's first win late in the year back at Surfers Paradise, and it was a great race for him. Basssinger and team really got their A game in the second half of the season, and they climbed up the ranks. Basssinger was down as low as 16th in points and climbed all the way up to 6th at the final points race. And it was a great year for Basssinger when it looked all miserable in the start of the year. And I'm super excited and proud to say that Basssinger and the team struggled, but they regained their mojo. And they were right there in the mix of things in the point standings right at the end of it. And that should say something heading into 2020. Now we're into the top 5. I kind of spoiled it a little earlier, but Jesse Turner best his teammates again. Turner, for like the 5th year in a row now, is the best Turner car, best Turner driver at the team. Turner is an owner driver for his organization, but he had to work for it, getting up to 5th in the final points. He was so low near the midway in the season, he had to really fight for it. And Turner and team, for a while, Jesse Turner had only, I don't even think he had a top 5. He had struggled for majority of the season. The second half of the season, like him and Basssinger, they climbed their way up the point standings. It was a great year to end off for Jesse Turner, and to really forget the salt in the wound that happened in the first half of the year when they were just off the pace. And Turner finished the year in the top 5 in the point standings. A great year for the 2015 champion. Now we get into the serious contenders, the serious drivers that made up the big headlines for all of 2019. These drivers that we're going to get to now, they were a big talking point all season. They were constantly in the talk, race in, race out, all the way till race 30. Daejeon Weeks comes in at number 4. 4 wins. 15 top 5s, 21 top 10s. That is incredible numbers there. 4 wins for Weeks. That's a lot of wins. He even got 6 poles to end the year. 15 top 5s, which is half the season finishing in the top 5. And then 21 top 10s, a little over 2/3 of the entire season in the top 10, right there at the top end of the grid. Daejeon Weeks, he has been looked to as the leader of that organization, but we will come to find out that he was not the best Yamp driver of the year. Daejeon Weeks, with the absence of his now ex-2-time champion teammate, or ex-3-time champion teammate leaving the organization, Daejeon Weeks is going to be looked at as kind of the leader of that organization now, with the most wins of all the drivers, including Daejeon Young. I'm surprised Young only has 5 wins looking at it, but Daejeon Weeks, he's going to have the most wins to his name of that organization heading forward, and he has proved himself as a race-winning driver, a driver that can get the wins when it matters most, finish up there in the top end of the grid, and Daejeon Weeks, performed very well for 2019. It's going to be exciting to see how he does in 2020. Now for the driver that really lit the world on fire for the first half of the season, and I think was even solid enough in the second half of the year to grant it a very good season, like a masterful season. 7 wins, 15 top 5s, 19 top 10s, just shy of 2/3 like Daejeon Weeks was able to manage, of finishing in the top 10 of the season. Ryan Griffin ties Nick Mace's record from last year of 7 wins in a season. That's the most we've ever seen a driver win in a single season. Ryan Griffin, for Allen Family Racing Team, this team wasn't really even that thought of as a dominant race team heading into 2019, but they were on top of the aero package and the package that was made for 2019. The package is sort of changing a little bit heading into 2020, but just not a whole lot. The big change was this 2019 car, and it's being added on for the 2020 season. And Allen Family Racing Team, if they can stay on it, they will be probably one of the best teams heading into 2020 to still fight for race wins. And with Griffin behind the wheel of that 43 Dodge for that organization, you can bet your bottom dollar that Ryan Griffin is going to try and get some wins, and he got some wins this year. 7 wins on the board, 3rd in the final season championship standings, and competed for the championship to the bitter end. Griffin, 3rd in the final standings. In his swan song season, Jeffrey Fennguy gets 2 wins on the board for his organization. Jeffrey Fennguy, man, 3 years ago, he was a go-or homer, finishing in the 40s in points and drivers and owner points. He has came a long way, and to step away in his final season in the Sony Cup Series, runner-up in the championship, he has got to be very proud of that one. And in the final race of the season, nonetheless, gets the checkered flag to walk away as a race winner. Very exciting finish to call a 3-wide finish at Homestead. And even that win at Michigan, that was just a big drive through the field to start from the very back to come and win Michigan under the lights. That was an emotional race win for Fennguy. Fennguy got 2 wins this season, 16 top 5s, over half the year finishing 5th or better. That is incredible. 22 top 10s. That is the 2nd most top 10s of the entire season, and it just proves that finishing in the top 10, no matter what, will pay off in the end. And Fennguy, what a year it was to be an affiliate satellite team to Allen Family Racing Team. They got the engines and the chassis, but they did the work on their own, and they got 2nd place. They were better than the main team that was helping them out, getting their engines and programs going. Jeffrey Fennguy, what a year it was, and what a career for him as well. P2 to end it all. And now, number 1, Jordan Davis. He is a 3-time champion and the only driver to ever reach 3 championships. Season 7 champion, 2016 champion, and now the 2019 champion. And when we look back, even on this video or any of the races that we have done this year, whenever we look back of anything 2019, the only thing that will ever be remembered as a staple in everyone's mind is Jordan Davis was the overall best driver of 2019, and that's just it. 6 wins out of 30 races and 19 top 5s, 26 top 10s. He only failed to finish in the top 10 4 times all year, with an average finish of 7.77 with 3 poles. Jordan Davis at one point went 11 races straight in the top 5. Never has that ever happened. Never. Jordan Davis, he would have kept that streak up if he would never have blown that engine at Martinsville. He was so defeated when he blew up at Martinsville, when he had a 100% completion of all the laps leading up, despite that one lap at Springfield, not Springfield, despite that one lap at Willow Springs, Jordan Davis, he was right there all season. Everyone else was right there neck and neck with him, but when he started finishing top 5 every race in a row, nobody was able to do that just as well. And Davis started skipping away with it at the end and clinched the title one race early, which that in itself has never been done before. The championship has always went to the final race, and Jordan Davis, now a 3-time champion, did it this year. What a year it was, and what a season 2019 has been. And I want to say, I wanted to make this video mainly because I was bored, but also that I just wanted to say again, what a year it has been, and 2020, it is right here, right now. And I am thankful that you all have watched this entire season, this video, and just participated in the entire year of 2019. And I can't wait for 2020. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next season. Davis off turn 4. For the 3rd time ever, open up the history books. Davis is a 3-time champion of the Sony Cup Series. Davis is the first to 3 titles in the Sony Cup Series.